there are some changes happening at Disneyland that could potentially influence Disney World.
Yes, so this was announced today, Wednesday, as we're recording this. Early entry for Disneyland hotel guests is ending in January. So the way it works in Disneyland is that one park will open for early entry for 30 minutes before, and it alternates. So like I think it's like Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday is Disneyland, and then the rest of the days were Disney World. I think Disneyland. Then the rest of the days were California Adventure. I think. Again, I'm not sure the days exactly, but they're not using that anymore because I think honestly they said it was because it doesn't get used enough.
That is what, and I also talked to some of the Orange Grove 55 guys that go to Disneyland, and apparently, I mean, that park is different than Disney World.
I know.
In terms of the audience there, it's a much more of a locals park,
Yep.
and they were telling me that, like, I don't think this will happen at Disney World.
I agree. I don't think this would happen.
Because Disney World is much more of a tourist place. Like, early entry is really a thing at Disney World.
And Disney World guests really rely on, like, the transportation to get there. And there's so many more hotels.
I mean, if you really look, too, it's like it was a very common thing. Even the Lakers were really good, like back when Shaq and Kobe.
Yeah.
Crowds didn't really, like, they were always late. Like, they would show up later. So I think, like, West Coast crowds kind of tend to, like, saunter in, more or less. They don't really, like, get up super early to rope drop stuff. They kind of just show up at a later date. So that could be, and they were even saying like a lot of the people that go don't utilize early entry too much.
That's interesting. But also another change that's happening is that instead of early entry for those guests, that guests on the reservation of Disney hotel reservations will receive one lightning lane per guest per stay.
Now, this is interesting because this is something that I've thrown out there as something you could throw in with hotel stays potentially, of something to do with Lightning Lane multi-pass. Kind of like how whenever you used to have fast passes included. That is interesting that you would have that.
And this applies to Disneyland Hotel, Pixar Hotel, Grand Californian, and if you're staying either cash rooms or DVC, does not apply to Good Neighbor.
Okay.
So just those three.
So do you think this is something that could make its way to Disney World?
So definitely early entry is not going anywhere. That's staying forever.
I completely agree there.
Getting a lightning lane, one per guest per stay, I think it would be I think as a guest of Disney World sometimes, I like that.
Well, we've talked about sometimes the lack of perks for staying on property. This would be definitely one that would help with that.
Yeah. I don't know if they would ever, I don't know what their reason would be for ever doing that.
Well,
because if we have early entry, we have all these other things, what would their
I think the reasoning would be, if you look, and we won't really know this until the earnings call next one, or when we get the T report for what would be next year for this year's attendance numbers. But if we're going off of the reports out there from like Touring Plans and other outlets that said the attendance this summer was not strong at Disney World, if you're looking at a scenario where you're still not seeing your bookings where you want them, heading especially into the Christmas time of year, or just you're thinking long term here, trying to entice more people to stay on property, it makes sense to do that. Because now the way, I don't know if you would do all hotel guests. I could see this being to deluxe hotel guests. And we've seen them run similar things. They've done test pilot programs where you stay at a deluxe hotel and club level, you get, back in the day, it was like fast passes. You got a certain amount of free fast passes or extra fast passes. You could see scenarios in which they could do this. I'd be a little surprised if they did it to like even value hotel guests, but I could definitely see them trying to entice more of like the deluxe end of things potentially. Even if it's just one, I don't know. That would be interesting if it'd be one lightning lane, or if you're staying at a deluxe. Maybe you could change that too, where it's like if you're staying at a value, you get one. If you're staying at a deluxe, you get like three or something. But I do wonder. That is the one thing you can play with, because they have monetized. I mean, fast passes used to be free. And one of the biggest complaints out there that you still hear to this day is people remembering what it was like with the free fast passes.
Yeah.
It would be a way to kind of bring back something like that
Right.
that you get in return for staying at a Disney hotel. I could see it. I don't know if I'm not going to predict that they'll do it, but it is interesting they're doing it at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Which does give some precedent. I mean, this is the first time we saw Premier Pass was going to become a thing was on the Disneyland app. So it is, I guess I would say it's a possibility it could happen.
I know.
I don't know if they, I think that, I'll put it this way. I think it's a better than 50-50 shot that they do that. I actually think.
Oh, really? You think?
And I've been saying for a while, I mean, if you look at the free water park entrance staying at a hotel, like they've been doing a lot of things trying to add more value to staying on property, also running a ton of discounts this summer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are running into a situation where you do need more bookings, this would be a great way to get people to book. I think it would be a bigger effect than even the free water park entry.
Yeah, probably. And also it might incentivize people that were going to stay off property.
Absolutely.
And be like, oh, if we stay on property, we get a free lightning lane. Oh, okay.
Well, and
okay.
That right there. I mean, exactly. This is why you've seen a lot of the perks that the good neighbor hotels would get alongside with staying at a Disney resort.
Mm-hmm.
So over time, they went through this period where it's like the perks of staying on property got less and less. And you were and basically they were saying, well, the perk is you're on Disney property.
Yeah.
Well, if that's not really working now and people are maybe staying off property or they're just not staying, whatever the situation is, I do think if you added in some sort of, whether that's for deluxe hotel stays or maybe you have it tiered where, if whatever it is, like a certain amount of fast pass or lightning lanes, depending on the level of hotel you stay at, or maybe depending on the length of your stay or a package or something, I think you could see some sort of iteration come to Disney World to try and bolster more bookings.
I mean, maybe we'll see. We know that Disneyland, Disney World function very differently. They don't always talk to each other. It's completely separate. We understand that, but they are still both theme parks.
I don't understand that.
They're both theme parks and they both, operate similarly. So,
well, and you could also look at it too. This is an old marketing thing. If you are wanting, I mean, obviously now they've monetized selling lightning lanes. They want to sell more of those. A way in which many times you can do that, let's say if they did have one lightning lane as part of your stay, there's a lot of people that might use it once and be like, man, that was kind of nice. And then end up buying the multi-pass to use it, or it gives them it's almost like a free sample.
Yeah.
You get to try it. And you could even see people be like, well, we already have one. Well, let's go and get, maybe they even offered, like if you do that and you also get a discount on multi-pass. That's another thing I've actually thought about is staying on property. You get a certain rate, like a discount when it comes to getting lightning lane multi-pass and things like that. So you got to think that's a thing they have where it doesn't cost them any money really to offer one for free. Like it's not like there's a set like fixed cost with these things.
Yeah.
So it's just inherent value. So you can throw these things around to try and show look at the value you're getting here. You're getting a whatever it is, one lightning lane per day. It's a value of whatever it is, $100 and some odd on your vacation, and use it as a way to try. And a lot of those people I think would end up getting, a multi-pass for every day of their trip potentially.
Could be. So, I don't know.
I'm going to say better than a 50-50 shot.
Okay.
But we shall see.